Coming to you live from our top secret broadcasting bunker, and this is not a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. This is a production of Prophetic Research Ministry. Mark Goodson, you remember those guys? Do you remember the song that we just played? Somebody at Watchman Community guessed wrong. They guessed the wrong one. Let me adjust my camera so you can see the top of my head. There we go. They guessed the wrong song. They said, Price is Right. No. In fact, I've told them what it was. But if you can guess that song, if you're on the Watchman Community, send me a little note there. Or if you're at the Pastor Mike Online website, which I'm pretty sure you are, just send me a little note and let me know what you think about what that song was. And that used to be one of my favorite programs. It was no cursing, it was not dirty, it was good, clean programming. See, I'm not even going to tell you what kind of program it was. I used to watch it every day, and I don't know why I'm not now. It's still on. It's been on. This show goes back into the 70s, as far as I can recall. And so if you're able to guess appropriately and properly what the title of that song is, well, then just send me a little note. I've got pieces of paper here, right here in front of me. We're going to do a random access Bible study, and I've got a UFP video. A UFP video. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet. I'm just going to keep you guessing for a little while. But anyway, on my pieces of paper today, let's see. You know what? I'm looking at Watchman Community, Watchman Community, Pastor Mike Online, and let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 people have sent in what they're guessing the song is, and all 3 of them are correct. And I'll just wait a little while to see if you can figure out what it is. But anyway, on my pieces of paper here, you knew it was coming. I knew some point down the road it was bound to happen. Here's another show that's been on, a TV show, popular TV show, that's been on since the 70s. And I remember watching this show when I was a child. And every now and then, I don't know if any of my kids ever got into watching this particular program. It was from the Children's Television Workshop. Does that ring a bell? On American television, PBS. It was Sesame Street. Now, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, watching Sesame Street, I don't remember how old. I don't remember what year it came out, so I can't tell you what year I started watching it. But I remember watching it as a youngster, and the whole thing with Bert living with Ernie, never, okay, 2 guys, no big deal. 2 guys living together and they're funny. Hey, Bert. What, Ernie? Anyway, they were funny. They were hilarious. They were puppets, for crying out loud. They were intended for children. And but everything with education nowadays has an agenda. And the homosexual crowd has an agenda in public education, television education. They're trying to slam ideas into our children's minds. So here is an article from FoxNews.com. It says, Rainbow Connection, online push underway for Bert and Ernie to get married on Sesame Street. An online push is underway to pressure the producers of Sesame Street into having Bert and Ernie get married. More than 900 people have signed a petition about the pair of platonic puppets on change.org as of early Wednesday, which is Woden's Day. I don't know if you knew that or not. We're not asking, here's a quotation, we're not asking that Sesame Street do anything crude or disrespectful. Baloney. The whole idea of them getting married is crude and disrespectful. The petition reads, it can be done in a tasteful way. No. Let us teach tolerance of those that are different. That word tolerance. I laughed until I couldn't stand up one time on the local news. This was probably about 20 years ago. They were having one of these I don't know, the homosexuals of St. Louis and everybody else was gathering together. And you know how the news does. They make it look like there are hundreds of thousands of people there by way of the camera angle and the camera shots that they use. The truth be known, there was probably about 15 people there. And it wasn't a gay pride parade or anything like that. It was one of these things where they were protesting alleged intolerance of alternative lifestyles. And, you know, the news media makes it, you know, local news media made it look like there was just people everywhere all over the streets, and there was, you know, looked like about 10 or 15 holding signs. And you can just imagine the scene, okay, a little bit of weirdness going on there. And I laughed. They got this little creepy little sissy guy in front of the camera, and I'm sure the question, you know, before they, you know, edited the interviewer's question out, you know, what is it you're trying to accomplish here? And the soundbite that he used was this: we're just trying to send a message that we as a people will no longer tolerate intolerance of any kind. And I heard that and I laughed, and I went and got my wife and said, did you hear what this knucklehead said? That he just, you know, it's one of those things that just keeps spinning in your mind. You're trying to make sense out of it. His statement was, we will no longer tolerate intolerance of any kind. That's what he said. Anyway, they are going to try to do this and teach tolerance of those that are different. The article goes on to say, from FoxNews.com, the sexuality of Bert and Ernie, perhaps the kid show's most popular characters, has been long debated since the roommates sleep in the same room and constantly bicker. The petition also asks that Sesame Street producers consider adding a transgender character to the show, which premiered in 1969. There it is, 1969. 1969, I was 3 years old. I probably started watching it, I don't know, probably not too long after that, around 4 or 5 years old. The online, and I never thought nothing about it. Okay, two guys, you know, living together, big deal. No, it's nothing. See, we're just been programmed into a way of thinking now in this country, and probably all over the world. You probably, folks in Britain, which hopefully your fires have been put out by now. And I have an article here about what's going on in Britain, the title of which, and Jill is listening and watching from the Great Britain itself, and see if she agrees with this. Here's the title of the article: Years of Liberal Dogma, Their Crimes Are Not Their Fault, have spawned a generation of amoral, uneducated, welfare-dependent, brutalized youngsters. Now you can just imagine what the article is, how the article is going to read. I don't know where that's from. I don't know where it's from. Anyway, so if you're from Great Britain and you know the scene over there, see if you agree with this. Years of liberal dogma have spawned a generation of amoral, uneducated, welfare-dependent, brutalized youngsters. So anyway, but here in this country and in Great Britain and in other places, the Netherlands, Australia, the homosexual community has made strong and well-backed and well-funded inroads into American society. So much so that when we see two men nowadays who share an apartment together, we're going, yeah, something's up with that. Whereas when I was a youngster, never entered into people's minds. You know, you see, when I was in Kenya, and this is the difference, in Kenya it is still against the law to commit a homosexual act of any kind. It's against the law in Kenya to be a homosexual. But there is a difference in their culture, in that we were in Kibera, and I saw two men walking together, and they were holding hands. And I looked over at Michael, and he said, "Oh no, they're not homosexuals." He said, "That's just." And then after that, I saw that quite a bit. It was camaraderie. It was male companionship. And see, even those terms there we can't even use anymore, because nowadays it's gay speak. Oh, this is my companion here. Okay? Whereas it used to be a companion